Testing, testing. Welcome back, everyone. I told myself that I would get this done this week before I hop on a plane and have no access to my studio or my microphone and my setup. We're doing a tiered list of Polyphia's latest release, Remember That You Will Die. You guys probably recognize the tier chart. Paying a little homage to Anthony Fantano here. I'm not going to be doing the album in order from top to bottom. I have a random list. I believe it's alphabetical order. I'm going to be rating this on 3 criteria: production, the songwriting, and the artistic approach. How the song affects the artistry of Polyphia. Does it progress it? Is it a bold move? Is it a weak move? These are the 3 factors I'm using for this. I'm going to do my best to keep it in the realm of just what Polyphia has done in terms of production. We're going to leave it out of the realm of other big names with $100,000 album budgets. Let's get going, starting with ABC. So ABC is a bop. Extremely catchy, and I definitely played this one over and over again when it first dropped. The production is definitely on point. Y2K mixed and produced this one. He did a really great job mixing the complex guitar work with Sophia's vocals. This song has a great blend of matching melodies with vocals and guitar. Dumbed down guitar that doesn't interfere too much with the vocals that are sitting on the top. It's got a guitar solo, catchy bridge section, which is kind of like a post-chorus when Sophia starts singing in Japanese. Overall, great songwriting for a typical pop A-B bridge, chorus, outro, or arrangement. In terms of artistry, they did a great job at showing the world that they can do a pop song, and I think this really opened up a lot of doors for their band and what they could end up doing with other artists in the pop genre, like Ariana Grande. Arguably a lot of the melodies around this song were reminiscent of how Ariana Grande would sing. All those factors in play, I would give ABC I'm going to have to give this one a B, because at the end of the day, as much as it hit very well with the pop song, it doesn't have replay value for me like the Most Hated does. Every song on the Most Hated EP is something I would go and replay over and over again. ABC, after sitting on it for about 2 months, I rarely find myself going back to this one, even though everything else was knocked out of the park. Most Polyphia songs I've heard have replay value after months. This one wore me out pretty quick. Great song nonetheless. Next, we have All Falls Apart. So All Falls Apart, some background on this. This song was supposed to be the song that had the Trippie Redd and Tillian feature. It was cut short, or gutted per se, because of all the drama around Dance Gavin Dance at the time. Trippie's management team would not go for releasing the song. Even after time went by, they will not be affiliated with the song. So despite not having it go out the way they wanted it to, trimming it down, it's a great short piece that they put together. Very catchy. In terms of the songwriting, it builds up and crescendos louder and louder in a very interesting way. The melody is extremely catchy. I often find myself driving around and humming that do 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 do. It's a very bare song, so there's not much in terms of production. And in terms of artistry, it really would have been a great song if it had been put out the way Tim had intended. I'm going to have to give this one, I'm going to give it a B. For an interlude, I find it really good. It had hopes of becoming a really good song. And ironically, it is named All Falls Apart, which the entire project fell apart. So the irony is fitting, and I'm going to give it a B for that. All right, so the next one we've got is Bloodbath. So Bloodbath is a song featuring Chino Moreno from Deftones. I believe the song is written with an 8-string. The last album has a lot of 6-string work, and so it's really cool to hear a song completely written on 8-string. To hear that baritone sound of an 8-string throughout the song. The production on it is minimal, but not lacking. It's got just enough to keep it in the realm of a Polyphia song, and it's bare enough to be like a metal song. If they had overproduced the song with Chino, it would have just felt really like gimmicky. It's a great metal song with a great groove, and it complements Chino's voice very well. The guitar solo at the end and the way it transitions into it, ridiculous. I love how the song just progressively gets heavier at the end with the quiet verses, loud choruses, quiet verses, loud choruses. The drums start going from that that groovy, mellow hi-hat sound to just tom fills and crashes. Scott's guitar solo almost reminds me of a Dimebag Darrell solo. We've got pinch harmonics, we've got 16 30-second shred motifs, crazy whammy bar stuff coming from Scott. When I look at it from an artistry perspective, Pantera is a Texas band, and the way that solo really pays homage to their roots and Pantera, I think it is a great artistic choice of a song. And me, who also used to listen to a lot more metal, In Flames and Lamb of God, Bloodbath is a pretty cool metal song. A modest level of production and great songwriting. Bloodbath is a song I would give a definite A tier. All right, Chimera. So Chimera is an interesting approach to hip-hop. Chimera features Little West, who does the last outro verse for the song. I love how, first off, the song starts off with this clean nylon string guitar riff and then transitions into their heavy H strings that they've been using throughout the album. It transitions right back into the nylon string again. Second verse changes up, a different groove in the second verse. That instrumental break going into the outro right before Lil West comes in is fantastically executed. The production and level of collaboration that went into this is outstanding. I believe Y2K helped write this. We had Luke Holland co-write the drums. If I went back and checked, I think there's a ton of credits on this song. Y2K, Luke Holland, Stefan Fagenbaum, Judge, Johan Lennox, Scott Tim. 5 producers on here, and then we've got Luke Holland writing drums with Clay. A lot of work went into this, and it clearly shows. Chimera is still a song that I enjoy going back to after a little over a month of hearing it. It's got great replay value. In terms of artistry, it is by far the best hip-hop rapper feature they've done. And with that, I would have to put Chimera at an A tier. It's another A tier song. Not quite an S, almost an S. There's just something about Chimera that didn't blow my mind. It just really impressed me the way they executed it, but it wasn't like mind-blowing. Well-deserved of an A, almost an S. Next, Ego Death. Arguably one of the best songs on this album. The production, modest and tight. There's definitely a great narrative painted with the use of production in this song. Lo-fi, room-sounding guitars on the nylon string that Tim does in the beginning. We've got a lot of synths that carry the melody throughout the song, like the panning, whoop, 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 that really kept the song moving forward. Ambient synth sounds in the outro right before Steve Vai comes in. And while the production was tight and kept the song feeling fresh and moving the entire time, the songwriting, I would say, is somewhat simplistic. Essentially, the whole song is just, it's got an A-B pattern, and they basically ride that the entire way. They start with clean, then they go into distorted guitars, and then they go back to clean. I think the only differentiator at the end is that the groove and syncopation of the riff changes up. The way they incorporated Steve Vai's guitar solo into the song is well executed. I loved the multi-tracking of it, panning left and right, and had these bends just coming in and out on different ears when you hear it. I love how Steve actually tried to play all the multi-tracked parts in one take on the video. Artistry, having that generational barrier broken and have a guitar legend like Steve Vai in a song by a band that's only been around for the last 10 years is incredible. I'm sure it opened many doors. You don't see a lot of guitarists across generations collaborating on music. Maybe because guitar legends and the guitar has like sort of a sense of pride and competition, virtuosity to it. Is it ego involved? I don't know. Is there pride? Not sure, but ironically, the band decided to name the song Ego Death, and it's a great symbolic representation of how a generation of guitarists from the 80s have put down their ego and their pride and acknowledged the great work that Polyphia is doing in 2022. With the artistry on point, the production being on point, with the songwriting holding it back, that is why I would put this thing in the A rather than the S. Around and find out. So this one is another rap feature. It's a heavy distorted song, which is like usually not one of my favorite Polyphia songs off the bat. I really enjoy their blend of low gain or clean stuff. And I really love that intro melody, but the amount of distorted parts in this song kind of kill it for me. The riffs are kind of lackluster. It's kind of obvious that they really wrote all those guitar parts around Snot's vocal melody. And not a fan of the lyrics, but I might not get it. I listened to Polyphia to hear really interesting riffs. The production on this song is very basic. The songwriting is not anything spectacular. There's no bridge section. There's no transitions. It's really just an A, B, A, B, A, B pattern. That's pretty much it. In terms of artistry, it shows that the band could collaborate with yet another rapper and deliver a song that's pretty decent. However, it's not as well executed as Chimera was. I don't dislike it, but I don't like it. This song is pretty mid for me, so I'm gonna have to put this one on the C roll. All right, let's do Genesis. All right, so Genesis is an interesting one for me. I'm not even gonna say I enjoy listening to it. From a production standpoint, there's a lot of layers and stuff going on, which becomes inherently the problem I have with this song. First off, horns and guitar occupy like the same frequency on the spectrum, and it just sounds like these two elements are just fighting each other the entire time. My ears listening to the song get very fatigued very fast. As much as I love the arrangement of the song and the way it transitions into the bridge where the tempo and the vibe changes with this really cool vocoder outro, I find the chorus super basic with the Tim's written much catchier melodies for hooks and choruses. The artistry, I don't really think they're breaking any ground with having horns in their music. I mean, they've had horns in their music before. Goat has many horns backing up that song. Having horns here really doesn't break any barriers. However, it does show that they can work with other instrumental acts. I find myself rarely going back to Genesis. I've gone back to Snot's song more so than Genesis. And on that note, I would give this song a C as well. The production's there, the songwriting is there, but the mix and the choice of going with brass tracks for music to do something different, have a different sound is what really held this back from being any higher than a mid C for me. All right, Memento Mori. Right off the bat, this one's kind of forgettable for me. I want to say it's the one that goes, I'm all in. Okay, I love the production in this one. I think Killstation's voice and the way it's mixed with their music, with Polyphia's music, was done very well. The songwriting is, man, the fact that I actually can't remember how this song is written just really makes it, I literally got to play it. Oh yeah, that transition was cool. All right, well, on that note, on the Polyphia tier, this one gets a D, only because it was that forgettable of a song. I don't remember disliking it, but I just don't remember enjoying it, so put that one in the D. All right, up next, Neurotica, the second video they released. From a production standpoint, top tier pop level production for an instrumental track. The songwriting, a great hook, catchy first verse, great second verse change up that goes right into a guitar solo, and then that bridge section into the outro that obviously Tim wrote from reverse engineering an arpeggiator yet again.
I pretty much just threw an arpeggiator on and it sounded like...
Phenomenal arrangement, great use of different elements of genres like the Drake melody. The way the band took a metal tone and made it sound poppy, hyper poppy the entire way through. And I often find myself humming the The melodies are just top tier, and several months after the song dropped, and I'm still humming these melodies, this song takes an easy A spot for me. It doesn't really do much in terms of artistry, but the production and the amount of work that Luke Holland, and I think there are several people that worked on this one. Yeah, Brady Watt, Christopher Cashin, one extra producer, and Luke Holland helping out on this one. The theme here, guys, is when multiple people work on these songs, they tend to turn out pretty well. All right, this is probably the one many of you have been waiting for. Playing God. What can you say about a song called Playing God? Iconic. Aptly named because arguably the best song on this album. This was not only well produced with the help of Y2K, well written with the vibe change up, the collaboration with many different artists and songwriters to get this song out, constant progression and change up of this song. Man, I learned the main riff and the outro because the novelty of the riffs that went into the song were just incredible. That is what Artistry is about. When it comes to trying to one-up the riff of the decade from GOAT, Playing God had a tall expectation to beat. And to open and tease the album with this first video, they reset the context for their music by opening with Nylon the entire way through. And I think as a band, the hardest thing you need to do is to not be a parody of yourself. Them opening and transitioning to Nylon for this song, they're basically saying, for those of you who thought GOAT was hard, look how aggressive we can make a song sound on Nylon while making it sound so beautiful. Production on point, songwriting on point, artistry to raise the bar of their songwriting ability. The S-tier song of this album, hands down. This was the only song on the album where I instantly was compelled to learn two of the riffs. And I usually only learn riffs that I feel like are novel and unique, and I'm almost unsure if I even have the patience to learn it. It's easily way harder than GOAT, and the outro riff is extremely unique and fun to play. It reminds me of the 40-ounce outro, but it's a little bit more accessible. I could actually tell that it's built around chords, and there's a very obvious progression on that arpeggiator that I can make out. Anyways, let's move on. We got two more. Reverie. Not much to say about this song. It's got a good hook. I like the noise gate on the chorus that goes like ba 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 da. The verses to me though are pretty forgettable. Honestly, it's that transition from the rest of the song to the solo that really makes this song stand out. Artistry-wise, they didn't really do much for their sound. I really like the R&B vibe they went for at the end. But they've done R&B before, and they've done it well, so I don't think bounds were really pushed on this one. I would probably give Reverie a C. I don't think there's much replay value for Reverie personally. I really only go back to like hear that solo, and to me, if the solo is the only thing holding your song up, you don't really have a song. Last but not least, we have The Audacity. So The Audacity is actually my personal favorite one on the album. A jazz rendition of their music. The majority of it is written and produced by Anomaly. I think they really just took the shell of what he wrote and put together and just embellished and accompanied his production and arrangement. Love the energy through the song all the way through. There is really no other song that I could think of that Polyphia has done that even closely resembles The Audacity. As complex as the jazz melodies and motifs are, the song does a really good job bringing everything back together with these anchor points. The song goes all over the place, but that part of the melody really just keeps holding it together. Love the different instruments that come in that Anomaly solos with, like the clav and the electric piano sounds. Love how crazy the drums are from Clay. He's got paradiddles and ghost notes playing out throughout the entire second verse, I believe. It's an extremely fun song, and I found myself constantly replaying this once I heard it, just to really take it all in. It's a lot to listen to if you don't appreciate jazz or are a musician. Nonetheless, well produced, well written. It may not have the mainstream appeal that some of their other music has, but in terms of them making a jazz song when they're used to making this metal hip hop hybrid, great song to add to their portfolio. It's my favorite song on the album, but I'm going to have to give this thing a B because, in all honesty, it is not the best song on their album in terms of the accessibility. It's so niche, and I'm aware that it falls under my niche. And so therefore, with its obscurity, it gets a B. Anyways, that's my tier. I would love to hear what you guys would have tiered out. What's your favorite song on the album? If you don't like my tier, explain why. I'd love to hear your arguments and your perspective on it. Other than that, I got to get packing. I got a ride that's picking me up. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next video.